Welcome to The Family Business, a podcast about football and life from the perspective of a coach and his daughter. I'm Stephanie Turner, and I'm here with my dad, Norv Turner. Today on the show, calling in from the great state of Louisiana, we have retired NFL player Jacob Hester.
Hey, how's it going? I'm so excited to be on the podcast. I appreciate y'all thinking of me.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you for joining us. My dad's not with me here in studio today, but he's there on Zoom. Dad, can you see us?
Yeah, I can see you. Great to have you here, Jacob. Have you on with us. Steph kind of runs the show, and I just fill in when I'm asked. But it's been going good, and it's exciting to have you.
Oh, absolutely, Coach. I'm fired up to be here. And I told you a little bit, I've been watching the clips, and it's been so good to see you with your former, Cowboys players and your Charger players and coaches that you've been with, obviously, as well. So I'm glad to be a part here. Excited to talk about our days in San Diego together.
Well, it's great to have you for a lot of reasons. But obviously, we're spreading the word down there in Louisiana. I know you have a strong following. I know we'll get into it later. They're anxious to find out what's going to happen with that coaching situation. It's that time of year.
A lot happening
all around the country.
A lot happening down there. But first, I think we should start with the Charger days. I think we should talk a little bit about how we know you, Jacob, and let's get into it. Let's get into your first, I don't know, Dad, you want to chime in with like your kind of first memory of him coming onto the team and would love to hear your perspective too, Jacob, on just coming from this, huge football program like LSU and such a successful time there. And you were the guy there, and that transition. And a lot of people talk about the transition from college to pro football. And I think a lot of fans are sometimes like, oh, why is it that different? Like, why can't a guy that was good in college, like automatically, so just broad strokes, kind of like the conversation that I'm interested in having with you is just like that, college to pro and your specific experience too.
Well, like the jump.
We'll start just one second. We start.
Yeah.
Jacob was the perfect guy to join the Chargers and drafted in the third round. And we were looking for guys on offense that were versatile. And Jake was a really good blocker, but carried the ball, ran the ball well, caught the ball. Knew was going to be a great special teams guy. So. When he came in, and then we got the bonus of Mike Tolbert, and the two of them were characters throughout the time together and complimented each other.
What'd you guys call yourselves?
Salt and pepper.
That's right.
Salt and pepper, baby. Absolutely. Hey, that was a great running back room, though, that I was fortunate enough to start my career with. And you had Darren Sproles, who y'all have had on. We had LT, and then me and Mike were together, and we were rookies. And it was never, I'm fighting for this spot, you're fighting for that spot. We're not going to like each other. Like, we were so different. And Mike could play tailback, he could play fullback, I could play fullback, I could play tailback, and we just were there for the team. And we're excited to be there and playing special teams. And again, we had veteran players like an LT that took care of us, and Sprolesy who took care of us. And like, for me to get to the Chargers, I didn't really know what I was going to play in the NFL. I had no idea because, like Coach said, I played tailback at LSU, and we won a national championship, and I was all SEC running back. But I knew that some teams wanted me at fullback, some teams at running back, and I didn't know. And so I go down to Mobile, Coach, for the Senior Bowl, and they're like, hey, you're a fullback. I'm like, that's fine. I just want to play. Like, I just want to get on the field. I want to have a career. I want to play. I want to help a team. And I hadn't played fullback in like 3 years. And they're like, okay, well, you're going to play fullback. I'm like, great. That's awesome. And the Senior Bowl gave me that opportunity. And so I went and I did that. But there were still teams that were like, well, we actually see you as more of a tailback. So I was kind of in this purgatory of not really knowing, should I gain weight and try to play fullback? Should I try to lose weight and play tailback there? And I didn't really know in the draft process, where I was going to end up. I did take a visit, though, to San Diego, and it helped clear the picture a little bit, at least, Coach, of what y'all were thinking for me, and kind of gave me an idea, because to that point, I had no idea where my career was going as far as which position I was going to be asked to play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and our mentality was the guy's a really good football player. Let's get good football players in here and coach them up and find a place. And obviously, you're versatile enough to play both for us, and then the contribution you made on special teams. And if I remember correctly, you rented a house from one of our guys, our slumlord. He rented Philip Rivers' house. How'd that go?
Yeah. So we had a growing family, and I can't quite catch up to Phil. Every time I call Phil to let him know that I know that we're pregnant again, he's like, "Oh, cool, us too." And so we've got 5 children. Of course, he has 10. But yeah, we wanted a place because our first year coach, we lived downtown. It was just Katie and I. We didn't have any children yet. And as we started to have children, it's like, okay, you need to move north. You need to go up to Poway. And Philip, they had outgrown that house. And so, yeah, my landlord was a quarterback. And so, if the heater went out or if the air condition wasn't working, I didn't really want to bother my quarterback with those kind of issues. And so we figured it out. We got a plan together.
You weren't in the middle of practice saying like, hey, after we're done here, can you come over and check out the garage door? It's not closing.
That's right. And what's funny is like, and y'all know this, if I would have told Philip that, he would have been there after practice.
Totally. He would have been like, oh, yeah, no problem. Yeah, I'll be there, and pull up in his truck. And
that's another guy in the whole quarterback room. And so like for me, having that uncertainty of I don't really know which position I'm going to play. Like when I first got there, the coaching staff and those veteran players, they helped me so much. And at that point, I'm like, I don't really care. I don't care what position I play. Like I just want to be on this team. I want to be on this team with these coaches, with these players, and they created a culture going to the AFC Championship game the year before, and they were winning games and having fun doing it. And so to have the running back room that I had, to have, Philip Rivers and Charlie Whitehurst and Billy Volek to be these 3 great quarterbacks that we had as well really took me under their wing. And hey, Coach, LT got me out of paying for the rookie dinner, right? It's supposed to be the first 2 picks, and I was the second pick that year, but I was a 3rd rounder, and LT just said one word and got me out of paying for the rookie dinner. So that saved me a lot of money too.
You had a good representative on that one. You had you hired the right attorney.
That's right.
He took care of you. Well, yeah, the one I get, I can't help but talk about it now. I know we got a lot of things to talk about, but you mentioned the Tennessee game, so it kicked in. It was our second to last game in 2009, and I think it was our 10th win in a row. We won 11. We finished the season winning 11 straight.
Yeah.
And it's like it might have still been late 3rd quarter, early 4th quarter, and we were up pretty good. And you and Mike Tolbert were the 2 backs in there, and we're trying to. It was Christmas Eve, I think, or Christmas Day.
I think it was Christmas Day. Yeah.
And we're trying to get home. So I'm just calling runs on top of runs, and we're getting first downs. And I look out there, and Tolbert's carrying the ball, and you're blocking. Then we call another run, and I look out and wait a minute. What? I thought Tolbert was playing tailback. Jacob's at tailback, and Tolbert's blocking. And I'm going, what are those 2 knuckleheads doing in there? I mean,
they were doing the salt and pepper routine, switching spots.
Oh,
on
that's
your
right.
own, just the way it should be.
Yeah, Coach, and that's not the only time we did it. We were playing in Denver one year, and we finished the game like that as well. It was rotating fullback, tailback, and we just kept rotating. And so, we kind of had a mixtape there for you. But hey, thank you for allowing us to do that, not calling a timeout and making us stick to one position.
First thing to do, and I think that's a Denver game where we had numerous injuries, and the 3 backs. We had 3 backs active for the game. And it was you and Tolbert, and I think it was Buck. Was it Buckley? It
would either been Buck or Matthews, one of the 2.
It wasn't Ryan because he was hurt at the end of the year. Because I remember going to Bisaccia, our special teams coach, Rich, and I said, Rich, we're the only team in the league that only has 3 backs active, and then you got to add to it, and all 3 are on the kickoff team. We could be down 3 backs on one kickoff, and Rich, if that happens, you're playing tailback, but all three of you made it through, and we won the game, and just make it work, right?
Coach, I don't know if I've ever told you the story about that game, because we only carried 3, and whoever that third back was, they did get hurt. And then I believe Mike had maybe a concussion in the game. And so we were down to just me. And we had to get rid of kind of our 21 personnel, and it had to be just Randy playing fullback, Randy McMichael. And so I was playing everything, Coach, toss sweeps, all the sub protection. And I remember I ran a toss and I got like 9-10 yards, but I took a pretty good hit and I was fine, but I was just trying to all right, let me readjust my helmet. Let me get up. And I remember Randy McMichael saying, "Hester, get up. I haven't played running back since high school and I'm not doing it here today." Because I was it. I was the only one left.
That's funny.
That's a repeat. And this was the first game of the season. It might have been 2009, but all our linemen got hurt.
Yeah.
And the same exact thing happened with Marcus McNeil. He got dinged and he started to come off, and Randy grabbed him and said, "I'm not playing left tackle. You cannot leave the game.
That's right.
You gotta finish this drive."
Yeah.
And he did, and then he was all right. I don't remember exactly what his injury, but Randy knew Randy wasn't going to play. He was a veteran. He wasn't going to play another position.
That's right. I love it.
So what do you I know it was a while ago, but what do you remember about those early NFL days and the difference of the games between college and the NFL?
Well, so it is kind of wild, because it wasn't like the speed or the player really that I was going against. Being fortunate enough to play in the SEC, I felt like a lot of guys I played on Sunday, I played on Saturday. It was just in a different uniform. So that never really bothered me. I mean, even like my first game in the NFL, first preseason game, we're playing against the Cowboys and we're running 30 ISO, Coach. And we actually were doing it at a gun, and I motion in and I'm like looking at who the Mike linebacker was, and it was Zach Thomas. Right. He finished his career with the Cowboys, and I'm like, "All right, you're here, bud. It doesn't get easy. This is the first block of the first play of your first preseason game, and it's a Hall of Famer." Right. That's just what it is. And so you don't have time to feel sorry for yourself or worry about it. It's like, you got to go. Yeah. And so that part of it never affected me. Now, the things that you think in college is as far as protection and knowing where guys are lined up, and if they're lined up like this, they can't come, and if they're lined up like that, it's in college, you know your assignment, and so you just kind of look around, patrol the area, and figure out who's coming. In the NFL, you have to learn those things. Routes, I felt like I was a pretty good route runner, but I remember doing one-on-one routes, and Coach, you would tell us so many little tricks of the trade I didn't know in college. I felt like if I had it in college, I would have, I think I caught 40 balls my last year. I would have called 80 balls, right? I've been open all the time. And there's little nuances that you have to learn. There's a way to do things, and you can't do it another way, because the other ways don't work. You have to do it these certain ways, and you got to buy in on every little detail. The smallest thing has to be the biggest thing, I think, to be successful in the NFL. And from my first mini camp, the first time I got there and we're running routes, and you think you know what a flat route is, you think you know what a choice route is, or an angle route or whatever. It's no, you don't. This is how you run those things, and this is the small details that you learn. So for me, it wasn't atmospheres, because I played in incredible atmospheres. It wasn't even the player. It was just all the small minor details that you have to have covered each and every week. And if you show any sign of weakness or you slip up at all, it doesn't matter how long you've been doing it or how good you are, you're going to get exposed. And Coach taught me that. I mean, Coach, I was the first day, I felt like routes on air was like a masterclass. And it was just the simple, we're going to do one-on-ones with linebackers.
Yeah. And the biggest thing is the consistency on how you do it. So there are no tails, and you're not giving anything away to the defense, because the other thing that is there, and I notice it more now that I'm not coaching, the details of playing defense. In the NFL, they get to know you. You play the same teams, particularly in your division. You play against the same guys, and they figure things out, and defensive guys get pretty good at knowing what's coming. You're talking about Zach Thomas, those guys that spend as much time as the quarterbacks looking at tape. They're calling the play out, and you're thinking, as you're getting to your formation, how the hell does he know what we're running? Because he's been watching all the tape,
Yeah.
So the details, they really do matter. And the comment you made, you have to buy in. You're a guy who's gonna buy in. Some guys have had a lot of success. I've dealt with it at tight end, at wide receiver, at running back. Well, here's the way I like to do it. And me, it's not a democracy, and you don't have a decision to make. Here's the way we're going to do it. And then once you develop those skills and do it, then you have an idea. We're open to ideas, and there's something you can do that helps us. I remember the 2-minute drill in New York when we came back and beat them.
Yep.
It was Sproulsy who told LT we were subbing, and he said, "Hey, Sproles said run that play we ran Thursday in 2 minutes," and it was H seam, and that's the one we hit running down the seam. And we're all trying to win, and anyone who has a good idea, we're going to use it. But you have to start with developing the foundation.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I remember that New York game. I was there for that one.
It was awesome.
That was one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite game memories, like in all of the football years. But I was there with a few friends, and we were sitting. My dad got, you ask for the visiting seats, and my dad got us the good ones, like the good visiting seats.
Yeah, because the typical visitor seats are up in the highest of high.
Yeah,
we were on a good win streak. I was able to get those seats.
He splurged and got us the good ones, and so I was there with a few girlfriends who lived in New York, and we were sitting close enough behind the Charger bench that I could make eye contact with you guys. Like my dad, he waved to us before, and then that the game-winning touchdown was right in that end zone, because we were kind of like maybe like the 20-yard line, and so it was right there in that end zone. And I remember Philip, threw the game-winning touchdown pass, and it was a 2-minute. It was like the last 2 minutes of the game. Yeah. Stakes were high. Like, we were the visiting team. We were cheering in the middle of a bunch of Giants fans. And it was one of those, like every end of game sort of when you're from behind, like stressful last couple minutes. And it was to Vincent Jackson, right?
Oh, yeah.
He caught,
It's a BJ,
and so he caught it in that right corner of the end zone. And then Phillips walking back to the sideline, and he had seen where we were sitting too. And he just looks, and he just went, like, I did the look that like he and my dad would always like, man, can't believe we pulled that one off, and just shook his head. And I like shook my head back, and I'm like, well, you did it. That's it.
But you're talking about that play. That's a great example of guys being together and being on the same page, because our 2-minute, we hit that seam, and I think we got down to like the 21-yard line or something, and there was 25 seconds left. And I remember my initial reaction was, we're going to spike it. And then I looked, and everyone was in perfect position to line up in a double formation, which we had. And so we just called it, and we called the pass play in our 2-minute terminology. We called it jet, and the protection was assumed. So I just said to Philip, double right, double, it was automatic double right, double jet. And instead of clocking it, we got lined up, and they were still kind of getting lined up. There was no substitutions. And then the guy came up and pressed Vincent.
Yeah.
He had no chance of covering him on a corner route, which Philip threw perfectly.
Yeah, if I remember right, like VJ just kind of caught it and just ran into the tunnel. Like, game's over. Just kept on running. And Coach, you know this, and Philip would never, in the moment say this, but obviously like those games against Eli Manning probably meant a whole lot to Philip, and Philip and Eli got traded for each other, and Eli didn't want to play for the Chargers, and so that part of it, at least for us, like I don't know if Philip felt that way, but like for me as a teammate, I was like, I don't want to let that guy down. I want to go out there and beat the Giants every single time that we can.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that people don't understand on the outside. Coaches understand, players. There's always some special things to motivate you. And every game you play, there's a reason. Obviously, the number one reason is to win and to advance to where you want to get. But there's always nowadays. I mean, with free agency, there's so many players that end up on different teams. There's so many coaches that move to different teams. And then you add in the draft and all the different things that have happened. You see these guys that have the name of everyone drafted in front of them in their locker room, so they get ready for every game. Those are good things to help motivate you and help get you ready.
I'm just thinking about Philip, just how much trash he would talk to people, and how hilarious it was, because people would be like, man, like the outsiders who didn't know him or people from other teams, fans of other teams, would be like, he just seems like such a asshole. Like he just, and you're just like, but it's like us knowing him will be like, the guy doesn't curse. He has like 10 kids. He goes over and fixes Jacob Hester's garage. Like it's Philip, but then you also see him and he would just get so like in people's face and yelling and like saying stuff and like couldn't help himself. And it just like makes me laugh to think about it.
Oh, I mean, he was the greatest trash talker I've ever been around. And you're right, without saying a single curse word. Right. I mean, it was all dadgum and golly. And, sometimes it was even funny. And I don't even know if Coach knows this, but like if we had the game like in hand, like, and you kind of knew we were a 4-minute offense, we're trying to end the game. Like he would really talk to the other team. And it was always funny stuff. So I guess it would have been 2011, I believe, that season. We're playing in Oakland and we're finishing them off and we got them beat and we're running 4-minute offense. And it's a 3rd and 1. Well, LSU and Alabama were about to play each other in the national championship game. And Rolando McClain was their Mike linebacker and I was our fullback. Well, we were about to run fullback belly, Coach, which was our like key 3rd and 1 play. We were always going to run it. Nobody really stopped it. But Philip gets up there and look, they knew what we were going to run anyway, but he's like, Hey, Rolando, it's LSU versus Alabama. Hester's about to get it and you can't stop him. He's like talking to him. I'm like, Philip, shh. I'm about to run the football. And I mean, he's just letting him have it. He's like, LSU's going to run all over Bama here. And then he calls his cadence and he hands me the ball and we get the first down. I told you he was going to get it, Rolando. And I'm like, oh, man.
Like, why are you dragging me into this? Why am I involved? I
was like, Philip, I know everybody knows we're going to run this play, but
I'm just glad I couldn't hear it. I mean, you know me, I would have driven me absolutely crazy trying to call a play in and crazy.
Oh, hey, but you know what though? He got motivated and it motivated all of us. I think when your quarterback is that invested in it and kind of has a life about him, if you will. And so it was always fun.
Made it.
Well, everything about him, he had such great leadership skills. That was just a sidebar, I guess. But he kept everyone on their toes, kept everyone motivated. It's the type of guy you want to have.
He does it now, Coach, as a high school coach. I went and watched him play one of his first couple of games. I drove down. My son had a bye week, so I drove down and I went and watched him coach. And he's doing the team's laundry. He's coaching the game. He's mowing the grass after the game and for practice. It's like that's what he always said he was going to do, and he's doing it. I mean, he is hands-on, and hey, they're a program that is like thriving now, as you can imagine. Got Gunner at quarterback, which is wild. I remember Gunner being in a car seat,
right?
Back in the San Diego days. But yeah, he's attacking the coaching world like he did the playing world for sure.
No question. And he, it's funny. I was watching the Indy, and they're off to such a great start. And obviously, Shane's the head coach and pretty much the offensive coordinator. And the announcer said that he talks to Philip a couple of times a week, and that Philip's running their offense with the same terminology. And I said, wait a minute, Shane's running Philip's offense. Philip is running the Charger offense, because
no doubt.
When I talked to Philip at Gates, when he got into the Hall of Fame, I ran into him when I came in on Friday night after the gold jacket ceremony, and he grabbed paper, and we're drawing plays in the hotel lobby. And I know Philip. I know I'd recognize most of it if I got a chance. I watched some clips of Gunner. I watched some clips of Gunner on YouTube, and I mean, I thought it was Philip there for a minute. Same number, same height, same release, same accuracy. He's really a good player. Someone's gonna get a really, really good player. But I got to remind Shane that he's running Philip's version that Philip got from me. So
coach, let me tell you something. If you came and watched some 12U football here in Louisiana, you would see Jack Wright, Scat Wright, 99 stop F cross M, because that's still how I call it too. So I stole your offense as well. Don't worry.
Are you coaching? Do you coach your son?
You made me think of we had that on against the Jets, and you ran across and they turned you loose like they could do with the pressure stuff, and Philip threw the 9 stop out to X. I don't know who it was, but if he'd thrown it to you, you'd still be running. Would have been about an 80-yarder.
That's right.
I don't forget those.
Oh no, me. Hey, don't worry, me either. And Stephanie, I have 5 and I have 4 boys, and we have baby girl. So my oldest,
I remember all your congratulations on.
Thank you. Never thought
girl.
that. I know, never thought that would happen. So I've coached them until they get released. My oldest is a sophomore in high school, and so he's starting on varsity, which is awesome. Friday night lights, and be able to do that. I got an 8th grader, but I still coach the 6th grader, the 3rd grader, and then whatever baby girl decides to do. So it's been a lot of fun, and I just still coach his plays and act like I'm a genius out there. Just running doubles a lot too, coach. Just 2x2, 2-man route combinations.
Love it.
That's fun.
So Jacob, I'm interested. How did you? I know you went back home. How did you end up doing the radio? Because I know you're really good at it, and obviously covering your home team. That's got to be exciting.
Oh yeah, it absolutely is. And coach, I actually got started in San Diego one off season, our flagship station, whichever one that was a double X 1090, I believe, in San Diego. And they came to the locker room one spring and they were like, does anybody want to come co-host this show? And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I like talking Padres and Chargers, and I'll talk Aztecs, whatever you want me to talk. And I started there. I did it, and I was like, this is fun. I can make a living out of this one day, huh? And so I did that a couple times here and there, and I would try to pick up any interview that I could just to get reps and try to continue to talk on a mic and know what your delivery was going to be and all those different things. And so then I go to Denver for a couple of years and kind of go away from it. But as soon as I retired, I was going to camp with the Saints and just decided in 2014, like I was kind of tired of moving and, kind of had my run. And immediately, as soon as I did it, I kind of got into the sports media world and started covering LSU. And it's grown from there to, once a week to twice a week to 5 times a week, and doing it in my hometown. And then got a call to move down to Baton Rouge to do it, and then got a call pretty much the same time to start my show on Sirius XM. So I've been with them for 7 years now, and then now calling the games for LSU, home and away, and so traveling doing that as well. So it kind of started, in, I guess it would have been either 2009 or 2010 there just in San Diego, because they came in the locker room one day and asked if anybody was interested in co-hosting a show.
That's cool. Incredible, and you bring so much knowledge to whichever you're covering. It'd be great to have you covering the games I was coaching. Someone that you just want someone who knows,
right?
And it doesn't matter if they're impartial, or it doesn't matter if they're critical, if they're accurate,
right?
Because we all have great plans. They don't always work out, and usually there's a reason when they don't work out, and there's a reason when they do work out. And someone up there who really knows and can express it in words, that's a big deal. Because I don't want to be too critical, but there's a lot of these guys covering games that happen to be critical of coaches, and there's a lot of these guys covering games that just don't have a clue. It's sometimes it's hard to watch. Sometimes you're better off just turn
Sometimes you have
the
to
sound
turn
down.
the sound down.
Yeah. So being on radio, it's a little bit different than TV because you don't have the visuals.
Right.
You don't have the visuals of the telestrator and being able to circle and stuff. And so the thing, like for me, that was, it wasn't difficult, but I definitely had to continue to work on it, is explaining stuff that everybody can understand through the radio, because they don't get the visuals of doing it. So when you're calling a game, because coach, like if you're playing quarters, right, and number 3 right there gets the eyes of the safety, well, the quarterback's supposed to automatically go to his one-on-one, right? Because this safety on the left side's worried about the third receiver on the right side, so he's got his eyes because he's pressing him vertical. I'm like, well, the quarterback right now has got to go work his one-on-one backside. It's like you're trying to explain those things. You're trying to explain like what the coverage is, and it is kind of difficult to, because if you have a telestrator, it's like, okay, look at his eyes, circle him. He's looking at number 3. It's quarters coverage. You got to work your one-on-one backside immediately, no matter what the route is. Like you've got your one-on-one. And like, so those are things that like I had to continue to try to, okay, how can I explain this in a way on the radio that makes sense for the listening audience, knowing they can't see it visually?
Totally. It is a difference in like, I think about, and our generation maybe more often listened to games, or we would be driving in the car and put the game on because you had to go somewhere, whatever. And I enjoy that. Like you forget what that is like because we're so used to watching everything now. But and it is like, it's a different skill set, and good for you for doing that, because I think it's a lot harder to do games that in that way, because you're painting the picture for somebody who isn't seeing it, and who you can't just rely on the visual coverage of it. But it's fun, I think, to listen to games, because then you have your own visual picture in your mind, and you're like, the commentators and the broadcasters are creating that for you, which is like just a different experience. And that's cool. That's cool that you're doing that.
Yeah, that's how we listen to games. LSU wasn't on TV growing up. They weren't very good when I was growing up in the late 80s, early 90s. And so they weren't on TV all the time, and not every game was on. So, for me, we sat around the living room growing up, and we would turn on Jim and Doug. It was like Jim and Doug, turn them on in the living room. And that's how that's how you got your LSU football fix growing up, because they weren't on TV every single weekend. And again, like there was 1 or 2 games. And so like, that's how I kind of grew up listening to LSU football. I didn't really watch it. Every now and again, they'd have like, if they were playing Florida, or if they were playing Auburn, maybe, but because they were struggling and, didn't have the access they did. So like for me to be in the position that I'm in, certainly would have told you you're probably a liar when I was growing up, being the guy that, was on the radio.
The thing that people forget, I was at USC in the late 70s, early 80s. I know I don't look that old, but I was coaching there, and you really only had you could have 2 games on national TV, and then there was your big rival, like our rival was UCLA. That was on every year, so that was like the 3rd national TV game. And then everything else was local, and then you only had so many local games. So people depended on the radio to listen to the game. Our at USC, our guy who did the radio, he was well known in Southern California. I mean, because he did, most of the road games were how people got their information. But we did. You can talk to all your LSU fans about this one. It'll bring back some bad memories.
Oh, I know exactly where you're going, Coach.
When I was coaching at USC, we went down there. We were number 1 team in the country, and I mean, we might have had 18 number 1 draft picks. I know there's 2 Heisman Trophy winners, and Marcus Allen and Charles White, and then we had Munoz and Brad Buddy and that whole team. I mean, Ronnie Lott, Dennis Smith. It was a team of all teams, and end up winning a national championship, or we finished 2nd that year, I guess. But that game went down we scored with like 10 seconds left. And when I remember walking on the stadium from the bus to the stadium, they made a line. I could barely get through. I don't know how Munoz got between the people, and they're yelling, tie your bait, and just crazy. And he threw a little, Paul McDonald was our quarterback. He threw a little short route to Kevin Williams, and he scored. But earlier in that drive, it was a little bit like the tuck rule. McDonald got hit, and obviously 80,000 or however many there were in the stadium at that time thought it was a fumble, and the officials said it was an incomplete pass, and that kept our drive alive. And we went down and scored to win that game. But that was as crazy an atmosphere as I'd been in. I've been in lost stadiums, and that was as crazy a place as I'd been in. It was it was an amazing evening. And LSU, I don't know what their record was, but they played awfully good that night.
Yeah, Coach. Whenever great games in LSU history get, brought back up, it's always wins typically, right? But they bring that game up. Like you talk to somebody, that was at that game or somebody that listened to that game. It's the only LSU game that they bring up that was a loss because it was that good of a game and because of the star power y'all brought to Tiger Stadium.
It was an amazing game, no question.
Yeah.
So let's talk about LSU a little bit, because there's big things, big changes happening down there. First of all, I love Louisiana so much. Such a great state. LSU, I mean, such a great institution. I directed a show in New Orleans and a couple years ago, and I've spent a bunch of time down there. But we brought the whole family down there. My dad and my mom came for, I think it was over Easter or something that I was there, and so my kids still talk about, even though, I mean, they lived there for a month when I was there working, but they're like, remember when we lived in New Orleans? And I'm like, we stayed there for a month, but yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I love it down there. But
it's a special place.
Give us what's going on. Give us the news from ground zero.
Yeah. So, you lose to Texas A&M on Saturday in embarrassing fashion, and it wasn't going the way, that you wanted it to. And you could kind of see some of the things that led to where LSU was and, on the field, off the field, whatever. But it's a place that has incredible expectations. And there's a lot of places like that, and not just the SEC, the Big Ten, some of these conferences where, hey, it's kind of, you got to play for championships or bust. And look, I always enjoyed playing for a place like that, though. Like I love that pressure and that expectation. And the last three coaches had won a national championship. And so that's even more pressure, right? The last three guys have done it. And so, like, outside of Alabama too, you've had the most success in the last 25 years of college football. And it was one of those times on Saturday, and you kind of felt it in the fourth quarter. It's like, I don't think there's any coming back from this. Mm-hmm. It was just like kind of the play on the field, the players, the body language of just kind of everybody involved. And so LSU decides to make a move, and $53.8 million buyout, I believe, is the number. So these buyouts in college football are, I mean, James Franklin's got one, Billy Napier got one, and now Brian Kelly got one, and there's something to say the least. Yeah. And so, and now you're like, okay, well, you got to pay that. Now you got to go try to find a new coach. You got to pay him to come in as well. Who are you going to get? Because now in college football, the teams that haven't always been there, your Georgia Tech's number 7 in the country, Vanderbilt's number 9 in the country, Indiana's number 2 in the country. Indiana's lost more college football games than anybody in the history of college football, and they're number 2 in the country. There's access to championships at other places that there wasn't ever really before. Before, it's kind of like these 12 teams can win it,
right?
And that's kind of it. And so, like, now if you're LSU, you have to understand that, like, it's not going to be just, oh, we're LSU, come coach us,
right?
So, like, you've got to go find the right guy for the right fit, and the guy that is going to attack that job and kind of lock himself in the office and throw away the key until they're successful. So I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know the timeline of it, because now you got a 12-team playoff as well. So these coaches that you want, they're still coaching their team, and they have a responsibility to their team. They're not going to just leave their team to go, coach at LSU. So it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, it's one of those things where they have time. Like, they have time, right? Because they're like, oh, we're going to start our search now. But just to what you said, like, the guys you want are probably, like, tied up at the moment.
Yeah, they are.
And so then you're like, well, So is that time really helpful? Or is it just still going to be, like, planting those seeds and then seeing who it's going to be when the time is right.
Yeah,
to
because
actually
you've
talk to
got
those
high
guys.
school signing classes December the 3rd. You've got a transfer portal class on January the 2nd, and there still might be the coach that you want still coaching. What if in the 11th hour he changes his mind?
Right.
Then what are you going to do? Then you got to go to candidate maybe 6 or 7 because the other guys that you liked, they've already taken other jobs. So yeah, it's the schedule and the calendar right now. I don't really know when you do it. So
Yeah. What were
The
you going to say,
biggest thing
Dad?
I would say, and this is tougher, but there's a lot of really good coaches out there, and they may not be at the top 10 schools in the country. They may have not had the exposure, but you brought up Indiana, and they got to be the best example. Here's a hell of a coach. He was at James Madison. He won there, and Indiana could do that. Could LSU go find a guy that's the next on the come?
yeah,
Obviously they years ago. They hired Saban away from Michigan State. Who's that guy out there
right.
that hasn't done that yet, hasn't gone to the next tier? And there's some guys out there. I think it's a little harder. You may not please the alumni the same way as getting that name guy, but there's a lot of really good coaches out there that and
Yeah, it
and
seems
LSU is a special place. It's going in and understanding where you're at and understanding what you have to do. Obviously, the number one thing right now in coaching, obviously, is critical. Coach Saban said it a year ago on TV. It's NIL, and it's a little bit more like the NFL. You're giving all this money, and you better pick the right guys. You start giving all this money to players, your evaluation process better be pretty good, and you better pick the right guys. And that's hiring the right staff and evaluating these guys, and that goes beyond the coaching to some point. And then you got to coach them to get. It's a little harder, I think, to get that group together and create the type of team we're talking about that we had in San Diego. Because the guys coming from a lot of different directions. It reminds me of when free agency first started in the NFL. Some of the players were just moving for the money, and trying to mold a team together was a little more difficult. And then obviously it settled down.
Yeah, it seems like this. The trend has just been to like go after these names, and that all of these programs are, and it's like, oh, let's pay this guy $100 million over 10 years because this is his name and whatever. And I think what you're saying, Dad, is true. Like that, you look at the guys who became the big names, and like someone took a chance on them because they were just a really good coach, and they weren't some big name superstar guy who had proven himself. And like, to me, that's always seems like the better angle. And I know that's maybe not the most popular angle or approach to take, because there are the people that want the like superstar shiny but that doesn't win you games,
Yeah, winning the press conference doesn't win you games, and that's what it feels like they want to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And
well, I was with some of my Oregon guys, and I played at Oregon. I tell people it was before Nike. We didn't have a whole lot of money being thrown around there with the program and all that. But they were talking about when Dan Lanning got hired, and everyone talking about what a terrible hire, and he bringing a guy from the South. He's not going to understand this and that. Now, they're proclaiming it was the best hire in the last 10 years, and they win every week and all that. So you just gotta do your work and evaluate it and pick the guy that fits your program the best, and you can't worry about the approval rating, because we all know once you start playing games, that's the approval rating that matters.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question about it. And y'all are so right about in college, it's like you got to make the splash higher, and these schools feel like they got to make the splash higher. And, I don't want to say turn their nose up at some candidates, but it feels like it a little bit. And like, it feels like certainly at a place like LSU. And I realize we are unique, and I don't throw that word around lightly. I know LSU is a unique place. South Louisiana is a unique place, as you know, Steph. I mean, you lived in New Orleans for a month, and you probably know that. You could feel that. And so, like, for Louisiana, just for the LSU job, like, it takes a certain type of person. Like, you have to understand all the buy-in that it takes. You have to understand all the like, I'm from North Louisiana. North Louisiana would never be confused with South Louisiana. They're two different places, right? But you have to, as a coach, you've got to understand all of that. You have to understand all the different dynamics of Louisiana and kind of, what it takes to be successful there. Because look, it's a tough state. It's a gritty state, and you can't just, do the bare minimum and get away with it here, or you'll be exposed pretty quickly. And so a big name might not be that, right? It might be the young up and coming coach. It might be the guy that's at a group of 6 school that is coached his butt off in 2 different places, and all they've done is won games. And you just have to say, I'll take a chance on you, and not just turn your nose up at it.
Right. And I think that is interesting, like the differences, because it is so different being the head coach of an NFL team versus a college program. And I think, there are people who don't understand that. And I think like some of that, the name thing plays into that. But just talking, like just what you talked about, Jacob, about the culture and understanding, like a school like LSU, we don't even have to say, like, that's a big college football school and town and state. And so like someone coming in and really buying in and being a part of that, and then the recruiting and that goes in with being a college football coach. And like, that's a whole other just set of skill set, I think, that a coach needs. And when people talk about why is this coach successful in NFL and then not in college, or why is this coach successful in college and NFL? And I'm always like, for my dad, for my brother, for my family members have coached in both. And I'm like, it's very different. It's very different. It's still the same game, but it's a very different thing that you're running.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about that. And Coach, you could speak on that better than I could, but I've truly always felt like you're kind of either a pro coach or a college coach once you figure out who you are as a coach. And there's so many different things. College with the recruiting, and you might have a guy that's the best recruiter in the world, but he couldn't draw up a ball play if his life depended on it. And you might have a guy that can draw up all the ball plays, but he can't recruit. And it's like you try to find that mixture on your staff right there. And then professional ranks, and Coach, again, you can speak way better on this than I could. I mean, it's different. It's all about ball. And if you don't want to be there, if you don't want to put it all in, we'll find somebody else that will do it. We'll work some guys out on Monday, and we'll find the guys. And like, so college it's just a different beast. And like for professional football, which if I was a coach, I would definitely rather do professional football, because it's all about football. It's football all the time. That's what we're focused on. Sure, you got a couple knuckleheads here and there that might mess up, and you got to deal with the situation. But at the core of it, it's like, we're going to get here at 5 a.m. We're going to leave at, as players, 6 o'clock at night. And we are going to have football all day. And the only thing we're going to do that's not football is lunch. And like, so that's completely different than college. And so like, if I'm, and look, college coaches wouldn't want to do that. There's a lot of college coaches be like, I don't want to do that. I don't want it to be all about, just football. So it's completely different. And Coach, like I said, you've done both, and it's different, and you handle players differently too.
There's no question. It's just a different game. And the amount of time you have, that's why you have to be, the precision has to be so much greater with the players, and the guys that understand that coming in have success, and like you said, you can get away with it in college. Like when I was at USC, we used to say, we got an 11-game schedule, but there's 3 games that are going to decide our season. Right. We play Notre Dame, we play UCLA, and we play Alabama this year. That's going to decide our season, because the other 8, we better win. You better not fall asleep on them. And I know that's changed in the SEC some, because everyone it seems to be getting better. Big Ten, it is, but it's still to some degree it's that way, and you mark those games on your schedule. This one, we're not going to fall asleep against these guys, but if we go do our job, we're going to win. Now, if we're going to go, beat Texas A&M, we need a special effort, and we need a great game plan, and we need everyone on the same page and doing their part to give us a chance to win that game.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the NFL, coach, you win a game 17-14 against the worst team in the league. You don't give a damn. All you care about is you found a way to win that game. In college, it's like you still get ridiculed for 2 weeks for winning 17-14.
Right.
Well, I still laugh. There's some people, our thing got out of hand a little bit where people, if you win, the more you win, the more they expect you to win. And then you get that mentality. Well, we're better at every position or whatever. And I remember we beat Kansas City. They scored late. We beat them like 38-17 or something. And one of the writers said, we got to learn how to finish a team off. I'm going, yeah, this is the NFL. And we just won a game by 21 points,
Right.
It's hard to win one by 10 points. Every win you get, you move on from it and say, hey, let's find a way to keep getting better. But I know I lived it at USC. I mean, I think we went 30 straight. We won a national championship and went 30 straight without a loss. I think we had a tie somewhere in there. And now the guys I knew real well wanted to know why we weren't beating the spread. You guys played all right, but you didn't cover.
Right.
That was part of the deal. I can only do so much for you.
We'll cover next week.
Yeah. Dad, I just thought when you said back in your Oregon days, and you said before Nike, but it made me think of Jacob. Did my dad ever tell you when he was at Oregon playing football, University of Oregon, they were actually, Nike was being developed. Right. And they would test out the shoes on the athletes. So they'd be like, hey guys, can you wear these during practice?
Right.
And they would bust open and fall apart and like in the middle of running. and then they'd be like, yeah, these aren't good shoes, guys. They'd be like, okay, yeah, we'll be back in a couple of weeks. We'll be back. With
right.
They came out, Bill Bowerman, who was Phil Knight's guy, and he was the head track coach. And we had a small building. You'd walk by his office every day. He knew everybody. Hey, Norv, how you doing? Good luck this week, But spring practice, they came out with a big green bag, and they probably had 20 pairs of the waffle bottom.
Oh, yeah.
Nike shoes, one of the first ones they developed. And they wanted the quarterbacks and backs and receivers to wear them. And we had a little sprinter named Bob Palm, and he put them on, and we were in the middle of routes versus air, and he went down and ran a speed cut out, and his foot just ripped all the way through it, came all the way out the back end. And that's when what Steph said, Bowerman grabbed them all, put them in the bag, said, well, we got some work to do, but we'll be back. And we're trying to figure out what do they call that on the side? Is it swish, a swoosh? Nick? Is it Nick? Is it Nike? Right. What's the name of these shoes?
Yep. They figured it out though.
They got that thing figured out. Prefontaine.
Oh yeah.
I was in school with him, and he was the guy that really, they rode pretty hard. He wore all the Nike stuff, and he got them established, and then the rest is history, with everything he did. So one thing you were talking about going to work out, you got to give us a little bit of your Denver workout where Peyton put you through the workout and the meeting and the whole deal.
Oh, so time ends in San Diego after 5 years, and you go on all the different workouts or whatever, and everybody does a little bit different. I went to Tampa Bay, I went to Chicago, I went to Detroit, and Tampa Bay coach, they're like, all right, we're gonna run 40s today. I'm like, 40s? I'm like, I'm 6 years in the NFL. If y'all don't know what that 40 looks like, and you're probably going to be disappointed at this point. I'm almost 30 years old, and I don't know what that 40 is going to say.
Can I just tell you a time?
I was like, can y'all just look at the tape of the last 5 years I've played in the same league? So that was different, but yeah. So I go to Denver, and I knew Peyton a little bit, him being from Louisiana. But, I kind of show up there, and I'm like, oh, here we go. Another, 40 and cone drills. And I'm like, I don't understand this. But I see them starting to set the bags up, and I'm like, oh, great. Here same thing, bag drills. And I see Peyton walk in. I'm like, all right. What's he doing in here? Does he just want to like see me run these bag drills? And we're like, what's he doing in here? And so he's like, hey, he walks in. He's like, here's our pass protections. Here's what we call them. Here's what you're expected to be able to do. No, it was the same stuff, obviously that we did, Coach, but it was a different name. Now, a little cheat sheet, the protections were the names of like Louisiana cities. Like some of them, so that helped me. I'm like, oh, I got this. Like, I'm good. So he's like, hey, here's what it is. You got 15 minutes. And so I'm like, all right. And so I go back, and for 15 minutes, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at these coverages and different things. And then, like I said, he's got the bags like all set up, and he's got 4 bags now for the defensive linemen. And then I see trainers and like string staff coming into our little indoor facility we had there. And he's like, all right, y'all get lined up. And he's behind me, Coach. And he's like putting everybody in their spot. And then he's telling who to come, who to blitz. He's like, all right, hey, here's the protection we got. And he gets up there and he starts giving his cadence. And these trainers and equipment staff and string staff start blitzing. I mean, we got America's Blitz, we got Strike Blitz, we got Lynch Blitz. I mean, he wanted to see if I could pick up, if I had 15 minutes to learn the playbook, because that's what they were looking for, a third down back that he could trust in protection. And so the staff is doing all the blitzes, and I'm having to show him that I know what I'm doing, and I'm picking everybody up. And he's like, all right, what if this guy would have not have come and he would have dropped and he would have come? I'm like, all right, well, then I bump one over, you redeclare Mike, he's here. Then I go to here. And that was for Coach 25 minutes of just blitz pickup from Peyton Manning.
Wow.
And like the most quick speed that you can imagine, because he wanted me to screw up, because he's testing you.
Right.
And so once I passed the test there, and this is a true story, Peyton's right here and he's doing the whole deal. So John Elway was the GM at the time, right? And so John's in the workout too. He's kind of off in the distance a little bit. And so after I passed the test, I see Peyton walking over, and he walks past Elway, and he doesn't really stop. He goes, all right, he passed, sign him, and just keeps on going. And so I got signed. Denver, after the workout, I think they were on a bye week. And he's like, all right, hey, go home for a day, get all your stuff, get everything in order, and then we'll fly you right back. And so I came back like 2 days, a day and a half later. And I think they had a Thursday night game that week, so sat that game out, but then, got inserted as the third down back, like pretty much right after that. Mm-hmm. And I had never seen a workout, been through a workout, heard of a workout like that, but it was pretty incredible, and certainly better suited for my skill set than going and doing some bag drills at 30 years old.
Yeah.
Then running a 40-yard dash. I have a similar story. Terry Allen had both knees, ACL. He had reconstructed knees, and he was in Minnesota, and they released him. And he hadn't been doing a lot. He was a little overweight, and we were looking for a back. And he came in, and the scouts, they might have put him through 5 or 6 different drills and all that. And he was breathing pretty hard, and he was a little, it was a little more than he was expecting too.
Yeah.
And everyone says, okay, you good? And I said, well, I just want to see a couple of things. So I had him run H cross.
Yep.
Coming out of the backfield,
yep.
H cross. And then I had him run H fake cross.
Oh, yeah.
And then a flat. And when he hit his foot, he was a little heavy. And when he hit his foot to make that H cross cut, he exploded. He came out of that break, and he was flying as quick as you could be. You don't have to be in shape to do that. And then the fake cross, he just bang, bang, and he would have, the DB would have jumped the cross. And we walked back, and I said, I'd like to sign him. And they said, well, he didn't look very good. I said, were you guys watching at the end the routes he ran? This guy's got burst. He's got explosion. Yeah. He needs to get in shape. It's right. May. It's May. We don't play till September. Well, he broke John Riggins' record. He came in and rushed for over 1,500 yards, and I think he did it back-to-back years. And then he was an older guy when we signed him, so it caught up to him a little bit. But he had some great years. We ran a heck of power and ISO and slant, and he was really he's as tough a back as I've been around. And If you would have run him in a 40, he probably would have run about 5.3, and everyone would have said no way. But he came back in great shape. So you just got to know what you're looking for, and
for sure.
And the running back position, I just think it's a little different evaluating it. And I've been lucky. The number of 1,000-yard rushers I've been around, but and that's not a special mark. The number of really good players I've been around. When you came in, and then when Tolbert came in, I remember Coach Robinson, John Robinson.
Yeah.
He was retired then, and he was at practice. He goes, "Who's?" I forget what number.
35. Yeah.
Tolbert was wearing, but he goes, "Who's 35?" I said, "It didn't take you long, did it?" He picked him out, and he saw you. And he says, "Well, you got two good young backs." I said, "Well, they're what we're looking for." And Tolbert, everyone remembers him because of his dancing, but I remember him because he was such a good player.
Oh yeah,
such a physical player.
Yeah, he was. He certainly was, man.
I know we got to let you go, Jacob, to go do your next show because you're a busy guy.
Yeah.
Before we always like to ask everybody at the end, what would you do if you didn't work in football? And you can't say coach.
Oh no. So I would have gone to PT school. So I'm a kinesiology major, and that's what I would have done. If I didn't think I could have made it to the NFL, I was applying to PT school and going to be a physical therapist. That's what the goal was, at least. Now that's, probably changed 1,000 times, but out of school, I think that's what I want to do. Be around, athletes and help athletes kind of get back onto the field. Like you're talking about, coach, guy has multiple ACLs and everybody tells him there's no way, but we'll find a way. And that's what I thought I would be doing. So yeah, going to PT school and being a physical therapist.
All right. Cool.
Well, I'm glad it worked out the way it did. We got to know you and become friends and be around you, and we had a nice run there. We had a bunch of
yes, sir.
Great guys. Number one, great guys. We were lucky, but off the good players.
No question, coach. I appreciate you. Always appreciated the opportunity y'all gave me. And you're right, man. We had a lot of fun. Nobody cared who got the credit. All we cared about was playing hard. And, from every room, it didn't matter the room you went into. It was all about team. It wasn't about individual. And y'all set that culture, and it stayed there. And, we were close, coach. We were so close. And there's a couple of times that if a play here, a play there, we truly had, I think, the best team in the NFL, maybe even a couple different times. And that was because of the coaches and the players and everybody buying in. So it's hard. Those plays, you still remember those plays and, think about what might happen here or there, but y'all put us in position to succeed. So I'm always thankful for it.
Yeah. You don't get do-overs. You get a chance to do it. And we won a lot of games. We won a lot of big games, just came up short in a couple.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Thanks a lot, Jacob.
Right.
Thank y'all.
Great.
Appreciate it.
Thanks
yes,
so
sir.
much.
Thank y'all so much. I appreciate it.
All right, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts, and follow us on Instagram, X, and TikTok, where we post fun clips and giveaways. We'll see you on the next one.